I'm William Lajeunesse for FoxNews.com. Yesterday's definitive announcement that the missing Malaysian Airlines plane crashed in a remote corner of the Indian Ocean has some experts asking how that claim can be made without physical evidence and how the search process could have gone better and faster. Why doesn't the aircraft have black boxes that upload data in real time? Joining me now, Dr. Oliver McGee. He's an aerospace, mechanical, and civil engineer and a former U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of Transportation. Dr. McGee, let me ask you this. We heard on Monday that the plane most likely crashed in the Indian Ocean. What is your take on that announcement? Is it plausible, premature, or simply being realistic?
William, we have to really think of this as plausible because it's time to take the black box out from the bottom of the ocean and put it in the cloud. Without the black box, we don't really know how to ascertain the mysteries behind this particular crash. So I would deem that as plausible right now until we get that data. We have to really start thinking about a new direction of the nexus of forces in aviation safety and security in the future. And that involves the cloud, big data, mobile, wireless, as well as social media. And we really need to think about how we're going to involve grand challenge technologies, not only in the information sciences, but bringing biosciences, bringing in wireless technologies, as well as microtech and nanotech, and then looking at cognition about how pilots behave under stress. And then finally, looking,
Doctor.
And then finally looking in the direction
I was just going to stop you there.
Elder technology.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Is it only a matter of cost? I mean, I'm assuming bright minds like yours have already considered this at the roundtables in Washington and the think tanks you go to. Why aren't we there now when we have the capability?
Well, I think oftentimes we have to look at mysteries like this to be able to look at how we're going to change rapidly new directions in technology. And this mystery is opening the direction of how planes that are traveling transatlantic, trans-Pacific, and also transpolar, and in remote areas and large bodies of water. How do we communicate with these planes? How do we keep in touch? And how do we find the most cost-effective ways to have these planes do their continuous handoffs? And the article I put on LinkedIn Pulse right now, which has really gone viral, is how do we start looking at the black box? And it's time to put the black box in the cloud and then transmit all the information. And when we look at...
So give me...
Yes.
Give me two practical ways we can make that happen.
Well, when we look at the advances in computing, high-performance computing, we should be able to transmit continuously information that is pinging and information that is transmitting for the performance of flight and the performance of the engines almost every 15 minutes continuously. And so we can track exactly where all the aircraft are all around the world, including the remote areas and large bodies of water and oceans.
Has the government, the U.S., proposed this to the airlines, and what was the response?
Yes, I was working on the Gore Commission back in 1997, and I led the development of the national R&D plan between NASA, FAA, and DOD, which were answering the 30-odd R&D recommendations of the Gore Commission back in 1997. $1.3 billion then was invested. Those documents, which are available in my articles at LinkedIn.com, can be picked up again, and then we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can just simply do what was in planning at that time and put some more investment into it.
And so is it something that the government would put seed money in? Or are we expecting the airlines to do this themselves, and was there ever a price tag attached?
Always, the government has to take the lead in long-term research, development, and investment. And then you have to ask the companies, the airlines, and including the digital age of aircraft and Boeing and Airbus, to be able to pick up the more short-term reaches to be able to put them in implementation. But the government has to take the lead in investment in large R&D technology and advances in international now aviation safety and security.
As you know, the plane was equipped with these ELTs, emergency locator transmitters. They were in the rafts, they're in the front of the plane, the back of the plane, and they're supposed to go off when the plane has crashed or hit salt water. Any idea why that wouldn't happen?
Well, I think until we're not going to find out what happened on this particular aircraft until we get a hold of the black box. Right now, the reports yesterday says it's at the bottom of the ocean. But if we can theorize, and that's all we can do now, When the plane crashed into the ocean and went into deep waters, the hydrostatic pressure underneath just blew the plane apart. So there is very little recoverable information for chain of evidence here. So we have to learn from this situation of travel over remote areas and oceans, and then think about how we're continuously transferring data through the nexus of forces, the cloud, big data and data analytics, wireless technologies and mobile technologies, and finally, looking at how we're doing social media so that we can do family care and media relations so that people can know continuously what's happening. This is why this mystery lasted so long. People just were trying to find answers anywhere. And I have 2 articles online at linkedin.pulse.com, which has become the water cooler online because thousands of people are having comments and discussions, 1 million views across these articles. And it's just an open discussion online. I like to call it the online water cooler. And people are just having discussions because I believe people are ready for a higher engagement of the public understanding of science and technology. But they're also looking for future directions in that.
Yeah, but we also need leaders to not only propose this, to make it happen. If this proposal's been out there for a good 12, 15 years, you have to say to yourself, well, why aren't the personalities, whether they be in the administration or on the Hill, to make this happen? And that sounds like a failure to me.
I think you're nailing the ball right on the head because it's all about science advice to leaders. How is that science advice being transmitted and also being engaged, and how does that science advice turns into the proper investments? And right now, I think people are going to be looking at investments in international aviation and security much more closely now.
And one other thing, so we're entering like day 18. At this point, is it futile? Do you think these items, the pieces of the plane, have sunk, if you will? Again, we're looking at an area the size of Alaska.
Yes.
What do you think?
The concern that you're raising, William, is the spread of debris. And also, these waters are very, very rough. I understand that they had to delay helicopters going out there because of very, very remote, violent weather. So the debris spread is just enormous. So as I said on Fox News Hannity, this mystery is missing 2 things, the plane and patience. And now that we've moved from a search and rescue now to a search for a cause, we now need to have patience, and this is going to be an investigation over years. But we're also going to learn what we need to invest in international aviation safety and security, and on LinkedIn, I'm calling it the nexus of forces.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. We appreciate it.
Yeah, the nexus of forces for safer skies. Oh, that's okay.
Well, no, you want to finish your thought real quick?
Oh, yeah. It's just the nexus of forces for safer and secure skies in aviation safety. That's what we're going for.
Got it. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for joining us. I'm William Lajeunesse for FoxNews.com.